to make big things happen. 4 years ago today, I stood on the TEDx stage on a topic called Stop Listening to the No's. When I spoke on that stage, I was focused on what are the challenges we face when we want to lead a path that's different than what society expects us to lead. I spoke about the traditional white picket fence story that many of us know, where you're expected to go to school, get a job, get a reliable career, work your way up the ladder, and then maybe once you're successful, look to other things to explore your passions before you retire. And I asked the question, what happens to those of us who decide to pursue a path different from the beginning? Those of us who want to pursue our passions from the start. I didn't know at the time what that would hold or where that journey would take me. All I knew was I was passionate that I wanted to take my life into my own hands. Little did I know that that journey would take me on a wild ride over these next 4 years. I started off as a motivational speaker, trying to empower the voice of my peers, like many of you here today, giving a voice to the ambitions and passions that our generation holds, and the ability that we have to shape that future. After speaking, I started on a whirlwind of a journey, founding my first company, Lovell Corporation, under which then I ended up founding between 4 to 5 other startup ventures and companies, everything from a positive media series that shared the stories of youth creating change, to a tech startup that could capture the skills we were gaining from volunteerism in ways that we could improve our employment candidacy and embody the impact our generation has. Along that way, I ended up becoming a prominent voice for our generation, speaking to heads of states and most recently, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. Never in a million years, when I stood on that TEDx stage 4 years ago, would I have imagined that I would have been in Buckingham Palace last year. This journey has been filled of big things. And so when I thought today of the topic of TEDx and the thing of equilibrium, the very first thing that comes to mind is balance. But my life has been anything but balance, and this journey has been a whirlwind to say the least. But one thing when looking back that I found was when I started to look at all of the big things that had happened so far in my journey, I found common character traits, and more importantly, a common combination of those character traits that always seem to be rooted in my success or bringing that idea to life. And today, I want to share that with you. I would like to share with you the ChangeLeader formula. This has taken the 5 character traits that I have found prominent in my journey that have made my success today. The first character trait that is most important is passion. Passion is your greatest asset as a young leader. It is in even the most famous TED Talks that we listen to, of the Simon Sinek's of the world, of the power of the why, to why investors invest in businesses. They invest in the founder and the vision, not necessarily on the product itself. It's the same thing with consumers and what we buy. We don't buy a smartphone because it's a device to make calls. We buy it for what it represents. The same thing happens with ideas. Your passion is your fire, particularly as a young leader when trying to make a big thing happen. Your passion is what people believe in, and it creates an energy. And that energy attracts the right people, resources, and supports you need to build your ideas. For me, it's how I got started. I didn't know what I wanted to do. All I knew is I was passionate about creating opportunities for my peers. And with that passion, I was able to connect with others who also wanted to do the same thing. And that energy is contagious, and slowly it starts to snowball into building and getting momentum for your idea. The second thing, though, once you have passion, is persistence. I wouldn't be standing here today, literally, if I didn't have persistence. My very first talk ever as a motivational speaker was live to 7,000 students in a stadium at We Day. We Day is a large event that usually enlists A-list speakers such as the Selena Gomez's and Demi Lovato's of the world, and political leaders and humanitarians, not a teenage girl with nothing to her name. The way I got on that stage was I first reached out to We Day because I had wanted to share some of the journey that I had. I'd had some health issues and gone through some bullying and mental health struggles, and I wanted to share that with my peers because I thought it would really fit with the vision of the event. And I received a standard rejection letter. I was persistent enough to reply back and try again, but I got the rejection letter again. I was persistent enough to try one more time, and that time, instead of going to the same speaker, the speaker lead, I contacted the founder, and I shared with him my story. And immediately the next day, I got a call for an invitation to be one of the opening speakers at the We Day event. If I was not persistent enough to make sure my message got heard by the right person, I would have never started as a motivational speaker and would not be standing here on my third TEDx talk right now. Persistence to continue to knock down those doors until you find the one that opens is critical in making big things happen. Your success will rarely lie behind that first closed door, so you need to continue to pursue that vision. But as you pursue that vision, most importantly, and this is a lesson I learned the hard way, you must have patience. I'm probably the least patient person that you will ever meet. I have no attention span for patience, and I want everything to happen now. And particularly because I started so young, I think our perception when we're young on time is already a little shorter than what it is in the executive world. In the executive world right now, they're playing into 2000, they're already way past 2018. They're talking 2020, 2025, and you look at the Sustainable Development Goals with the UN, we're talking 2030. That's a lifetime when you're a teenager. In school, it's the biggest deal in the world if you're dating someone just 2 grades ahead of you. So when I first started as a young leader trying to make an idea happen, I had these great ideas, and I was bubbling with energy, and I was like, okay, and we're going to do this and this and this, and we're going to do a national fundraising campaign, and we're going to do it all of it in less than 2 months. Everyone, any mentor that I had in my networks laughed at me. They're like, Kelly, you can't do this in 2 months. You need to plan this for a year. You can't do a cross-country fundraiser for students. And I can do it. And I did it, but it wasn't as effective. I could have reached more people. I could have probably raised more money because there was a lot of things in planning that I had neglected because I was rushing to push it out. And so I've learned over time that patience in creating great things is extremely important. The Power of Youth book is is an example of this. It's a project that I've worked on for 2 years. I started off 2 years ago wanting to capture the stories of change of youth around the world who, like me, wanted to create a different path, wanted to lead a meaningful life that created impact and was changing our world. It took me 2 years to put it together, 83,000 words later, but in the process, we have curated 200 stories of youth in over 59 different countries who are changing our world, everything from age 6 to 30. I would not have been able to create such an amazing piece if I had rushed that. And I would not have been able to reach 59 countries if I had rushed that. Having patience to let your ideas evolve and grow builds on that foundation. Thirdly, and this is something that a lesson that I've just still working on in honesty. It's a lesson that I only really came to realize really strongly, almost probably in the last month, is self-care. Since standing on that TEDx stage 4 years ago, I have been in overdrive. I have worked 7 days a week, no holidays, starting off working till 1 a.m. Those 1 a.m.s turned to 2 a.m.s, to 3 a.m., and most recently, before I decided to really make self-care a priority, 4 a.m. Running on 4 hours sleep around the clock, I neglected the most important thing, myself. I was so concerned and passionate about making my ideas happen and helping others and creating a better future for everyone else that I forgot my own well-being in the process. And you don't see it at first. At first, sometimes it's exciting when you first start as an entrepreneur. You're like, oh, I'm working to 1 a.m. That means I must be doing something great and I'm being productive because I have really long days. It really doesn't. You can be much more effective in use of your time and still take care of yourself. I found that I became on burnout. And when I was on burnout, and I was last summer, I pushed through it and continued to push through it. And what I found, my relationships dwindled. I became distant from my team at work. And I wasn't able to mentally take care of the things I needed to. My productivity, things I used to be able to get done in a day, took me a week to do. Self-care is extremely important. I always go back to, if you're driving on an airplane and they say, put your oxygen mask on before you help others. Take care of yourself in order to make your big ideas happen. Once you have those character traits, though, the next and most important character trait you need is confidence. You can be the most passionate person in the world, have the best idea, be persistent, knocking down all of those doors, continue your way. But if you do not have the confidence for when that door opens, to feel that you are worthy to be heard, that your voice matters, and your idea is of value, it's all for nothing. You first must believe in yourself before you can expect others to believe in your ideas. Confidence for me has been my greatest asset and something that for me has really created the opportunities. I started off with nothing. I was not primed for success, nothing special. I didn't have any business education when I started off, or connections, or financing to make any of these ideas happen. I've bootstrapped the whole thing and running on a lot of times just passion and drive. But because I was passionate about it and I was confident enough to share that passion with the world, amazing things have happened. I've made it to the red carpet at the Oscars, Buckingham Palace, United Nations headquarters, met with our prime ministers and former presidents, and it's all because I believed that my mission was worthy enough for others to hear, and I had the confidence to share it. So, if you combine these character traits, passion and persistence to bring and make those ideas happen, combined and equally balanced out with the patience to let those ideas grow, to plan and coordinate the logistics, and self-care to make sure that you're running at your 100% best so you can support those opportunities when they come and those doors open and you're ready to take action, you can achieve equilibrium. But remember, you need that confidence to balance things out. When combined, passion, perseverance, patience and self-care, and confidence, you can make big things happen.